Electro-optical weapons are guided to their target by TV image. You will use this image to find, designate, and launch your weapon. These weapons are classified as standoff since they can be targeted and launched from greater distances than bombs. The standoff weapons available in F-18 Hornet are the AGM-65E Maverick and the AGM-62 Walleye. Both weapons feature attack ranges in excess of 10 miles, depending on altitude. While these weapons take less pilot skill to employ, there is a lot of time spent head down in the cockpit targeting. The autopilot is therefore critical to the employment of both weapons. We'll cover these weapons as individual topics. The FLIR, or forward-looking infrared, is not a weapon, but an electro-optical device with handoff capability. The FLIR can be used to designate targets for weapons, including iron bombs. In the next few topics, we'll look at the specific electro-optical weapons along with the FLIR and how it can be used to designate remote targets for other weapons. The AGM-65E Maverick is a TV-guided standoff weapon with a range of approximately 12 miles. Engage autopilot and become familiar with using the electro-optical system. Press O to activate the electro-optical display in the left DDI and to cycle through available loaded electro-optical weapons. Your weapon select status is displayed in the upper left corner along with the station indicator. Centered in the display are the launch constraint circle and gimbal angle limits. These symbols are part of the Maverick video. Use Control in conjunction with the arrow keys to slew the seeker head until it is centered at the base of the target. Zoom in is required using Control plus or Control minus. Designate the target by pressing the Return or Enter key. The X will change to a solid square indicating you have a lock on your target. The HUD will display the TD diamond on your selected aim point. When in range for the Maverick, an in-range cue appears in the HUD. Release the weapon with the trigger, return, or enter key. Once fired, the Maverick needs no more attention and you can immediately leave the target area. The AGM-62 Walleye is essentially an unpowered version of the Maverick with a larger payload and, depending on the launch altitude, longer range. It is, however, slower and more susceptible to drift than the Maverick. Engage autopilot and, using the O key, cycle through EO weapons until the Walleye display is active on the left DDI. The video display for the Walleye differs somewhat from the Maverick. The display provides two sets of double horizontal and vertical raster lines which form a square gate at the center. Zoom is required using the Control plus or Control minus keys. The target gate is represented in the HUD by a stationary air-to-ground reticle. Maneuver your aircraft to position the reticle on the target. Press the trigger, return, or enter key to designate. The target gate will then snap to your aim point. If you have a good lock, the gate will gimbal to maintain the target in the display's center. After designation, the TD diamond will appear on the selected aim point or target in the HUD. An in-range cue appears in your HUD when within launch parameters. Release the weapon with the trigger, return, or enter key. Forward-looking infrared, or FLIR, was designed to allow the pilot to see at night or in bad weather. FLIR sees in the infrared range of the light spectrum. Cooler objects will appear darker than warm ones. The FLIR pod is available by pressing O and cycling to FLIR. As with all EO devices, FLIR is displayed on the left DDI. Again, autopilot will be helpful to you while you become familiar with the operation of the FLIR system. The center of your view is marked by the field of view reticle. To the left of your field of view reticle is the elevation readout providing you with the gimbal angle above or below the horizon. Negative values represent angles below the horizon. Barometric altitude is displayed in the lower right. Use Control with the arrow keys to slew the FLIR's optics to the target. Zoom is required using Control plus and Control minus. A pipper, helpful as a steering aid, is simultaneously displayed in the HUD and tracks in relation to the field of view reticle. Maneuver to position the center of the field of view reticle on the target. Designate the target using the trigger, return, or enter key. If you have a positive lock, a symbol similar to the TDC cursor will appear on your target in the FLIR display. Likewise, the target designator diamond is displayed in the HUD over the target. You may now hand off the designated target to CCIP weapons by simply selecting a bomb with the right bracket key. Auto-release symbology will be displayed in the HUD just as if you had pickled the target conventionally. The Radar Warning Receiver, or RWR, plays a critical part in your survival in the air-to-ground environment. You must constantly be aware of what's going on around you. If possible, interrogate contacts using IFF. If you do not receive positive IFF confirmation, take appropriate action using the HARM system.